Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. Hope you guys are ready for your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness. Because Wile E. Coyote is still my spirit animal, and I'm still around. I know it's been a while since I've put up a video, but I've basically been busy with stuff, and I have to have adventures in order to show you guys adventures. I don't just want to make videos, I want to make good videos that you guys are going to want to watch. Now, in this video, I'm going to be showing you a product, which is the Tim Wells Seahawk Spear, and a project of me showing proof of concept in my urban bushcraft fish dart that I created out of a driveway stake, a bow fishing point, and some heavy braided line. Don't worry, you'll get to see all of it in due time. Now, if you want to support the channel in a way beyond simply watching the videos, you can go to texgrebneroutdoors.com. Check out the Make It Weird sticker, the Make It Weird shirt. The Life Ain't Like the Pornos, Hunting Ain't Like the TV Show shirt, because by God ain't that the truth. And my personal favorite, the Kill with Stick shirt. Now, if you're looking for a discount on all your trad life supplies on orders over $100, check out my friends over at Three Rivers Archery and use the code Tex Grebner in your checkout on orders over $100 for free shipping and to show your support for Tex Grebner Outdoors. They have their own code, but using Tex Grebner in your checkout over $100 shows your support for what I do. Now, if you're in the market for some high-end hunting ammunition between 30-06 all the way up to 505 Gibbs, or you want to take a 12 gauge and shoot a slug that's capable of killing a rhino, check out my friends over at Aria Ballistic Engineering. If you want to armor the front of your arrow, check out my friends over at ethicsarchery.com and use the code TGO10 in your checkout. It will give you a 10% discount on your purchase price. Now, in this video, we're going to be doing some urban bushcraft and some spear fishing. Don't get me wrong, I still love bow fishing, but I've got ADD real bad. So once I develop a level of basic mastery or functionally basic in something, I like making it weird. Just the honest to God truth. So I have kind of fallen in love with spearfishing, and something that I find really funny is everybody loves alligator gar. They think that they're cool, and I think that alligator gar are wicked cool. I wish out there in the Illinois River we had a population that would support not only me finding them, but me actually harvesting alligator gar with either my spears or my bow and arrow, but we don't. Never been after alligator gar. I'm sure they're hard to sneak up on. They don't strike me when they're massive of being all that hard to hit. Everybody's super impressed with alligator gar. Nobody cares when you put an arrow or a spear or a dart into a gar that's about 2 foot long at the max and about as big around as like a novelty dildo. Nobody cares about that. I don't want you thinking that I quit making videos. Trust me, I've been making videos. You just haven't seen them yet because I don't want to just make videos. I want to make good videos, and they take some time to make. This here is your standard bow fishing point. It's also really important to me that this is something that you can urban bushcraft yourself with minimal tools. So get a bow fishing point, and this here is your standard driveway flag or golf cart flag. Just going to, with my new cold steel drop forge, slice that off there, cover this with epoxy, and if you're curious what the heck I'm doing, I'm showing you how to make a fast and dirty urban bushcraft and pretty cost-effective fish dart. Tex, it's you from the future. It's me. Does it actually work? It's that simple. A lot of bushcrafters are not primitive hunters, where they will do arts and crafts, but you never see their skills brought to a logical conclusion. You never see the project brought to a logical conclusion, where you don't see boots on the ground and blood on the spear. And that has a lot to do with the legality where these people are at. However, I made some pretty bold claims in the video that I made several months ago that were difficult to prove, mostly based off of the circumstances that I find myself in of not having a boat and being subject to the ebb and flow of the Illinois River and where I could find the fish, and this being so different as a dart rather than a fish spear that I'm used to, of learning how the spear would respond to me and how I needed to respond to the spear. Now, I missed a bunch of fish. An embarrassing amount of misses went into making this video, and along the way I adapted what I had, but in the end, through persistence, I was successful with this urban bushcraft fish dart. Most importantly, I made bold claims that I felt like I had to back up over the course of this summer, whether or not John Q, Jane Q public could take what I showed and replicate the result and bring it to its logical conclusion according to the scientific method. Because claim without result is bullshit. And I finally was successful. It finally worked. But I was determined that I needed to show results because I'd made a video when I actually made this fishing dart here. And one of my biggest sticking points of contention with the bushcraft community tends to be that very rarely do you see the projects in action and actually getting results. So I'm embarrassed to say how many fish I actually missed because it's such a different style than with my normal fish spears, but we have killed with sticks. This is the final form of my urban bushcraft fish dart. Now, initially in the original, I was using 550 cord with the guts out of it that was clove hitched on and then electrical taped over top to keep it in place so that we could have a fast and dirty and, I believe, completely functional fish dart where you cut the flag end off and then glue on a bow fishing point, get some retriever line, and you're ready to go. I have modified it into its final form because this is essentially just a huge length of bow fishing arrow by drilling it out, putting a safety slider stop on, and using a safety slider from the kit that came with, of course, the bow fishing point. And this is a 100-pound braid, and I modified with some epoxy on the end to prevent fiberglass splinters, a Zevco rod, and a spinning reel for my 100-pound braid here, so that I had super lightweight line that was also still very strong, because the 550 cord that I normally use on fish spears, it was just too heavy for the amount of energy that this actually carries for the distances that I was actually having to throw. Would the original be completely serviceable? I believe so. I just had to adapt to the circumstances that I found myself in. And speaking of adaptation, I define urban bushcraft as using modern materials to create primitive concepts, essentially using what you have to do the best you can with what you've got. Is this ideal? Absolutely not. But if you cannot afford something, say, like the Timwell Seahawk spear, does this actually function as I have said that it functions? The answer? Unequivocally yes. I was actually skeptical initially as to whether or not this would have the power, hand thrown without an out-of-lottle lever, to actually stop a gar and punch in deep enough for the barbs to take effect. The answer, as you've seen, is that it does actually work. In the interest of urban bushcraft, what am I looking at and how can I modify it to do what I needed to do? Basically trash crafting. Redneck recycling, if you will. This used to be a spool for weed eater line. Now I have turned it into a spool with a handle to hold my retriever line for my Tim Wells Seahawk spear, which is gutted 550 cord. I gotta say that I am pleasantly impressed with the Seahawk spear. I will say though that it doesn't really like rocks, but I haven't broke it yet. It's not a giant, but we do have success with the Seahawk spear. It is an excellent harpoon. I did, however, only get one gar with this. Unfortunately, I spent most of the summer trying to prove the urban bushcraft fish dart because that was more important to me. I knew that this was going to work. Now, while I do prefer, through familiarity, the Cold Steel Samburu spear and the Maasai spear, I will say that, is this worth $100? Yeah, this is worth $100. However, if you don't have $100 to spend, you can, as I have showed you and demonstrated successfully in this video, make a completely functional fish dart with a golf cart flag, a bow fishing point, and some form of retriever line. That way, it makes it accessible if you don't have the disposable income to get anything fancier, even though what you're looking at is actually pretty fancy. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this week's episode of Tex Grebner Outdoors. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please got my friends over at threeriversarchery.com. Thank you very much to those who are involved in law enforcement, you good cops out there, and those of you serving in the military ready to die for freedom anywhere. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.